Hi there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Altenew. And today I'm going to use the new Watercolor Roses Stamp set to create a very simple layout. What I want to create this time is something very monochromatic, but I'm going to choose to create the embellishments, in this case the watercolor roses, by embossing them on craft paper. So you're going to see that I'm actually using anti-static powder just to prep my craft paper, and then I'm going to use the Altenew embossing ink just to stamp a few of the roses. And I actually use two different powders when creating the embossing images. I'm using white opaque from Altenew, and I'm also using a pearl finish from actually another company. Just I wanted those two different tones. One is gonna bring the tone of the craft, and it made it a little bit grayish, which is actually gonna stand out really nice on this layout, while the other one's gonna give me that white outline of the flower with the craft background. So you're gonna see that I'm just gonna show you how I started the roses, and I'm gonna use the white Altenew powder for it, and then I'm gonna stamp some of the branches, but I'm gonna use the pearled embossing powder. So you're gonna see the difference in the colors, and I use a combination of those two to create the rest of the embellishments. So very simple. I'm just gonna, once I've already stamped the ink, I'm gonna add the powder. I'm gonna make sure that it's covered, all the areas are covered completely with the powder, and I'm going to heat emboss it just with my heat gun. And after that's done, I'm going to go ahead and use the coordinating die set to cut each one of the pieces and have everything ready. Now I'm just showing you a sample. I created quite a few of them outside of the camera, but this time I only focus on creating some of the bigger roses, some of the branches, and a few of the leaves. I don't want to use the buds because what I want to create is a layout, and I don't want to have small pieces. I want to cluster the big images in 3 different areas. So you're gonna see that I'm just using my mini die cutting machine just to cut all the little branches and florals, and then I'm gonna come back once I have everything ready. So now for this layout, I want to keep it very simple. So the first thing I did is I put white cardstock. I'm actually gonna create my own background, and the first thing I did is I'm gonna use the hand-drawn mandala die to create, I'm gonna say a little, think of a doily to put behind my picture. So I cut that out of white cardstock, and then I'm just gonna have an idea what I want to do. I want to create a diagonal design for this. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut my background by, I'm gonna say 1.25 inches on one side. I just want to create 2 lines of design on the left and the right of the layout. And for this, I'm actually gonna bring another piece of cardstock, a 12 by 12, and I'm gonna use one of the washi tips from Altenew. You're gonna see that I'm gonna make sure that I just cover the edges, the ones that are gonna show from the background, and I'm just gonna glue the washi straight onto the cardstock and then trim it so I have the edges covered. Once I have that, I'm gonna set that aside and continue working on the background. And I'm gonna keep it very simple, nothing complicated. I want actually the flowers to be, I'm gonna say, kind of the focus of this layer. So I'm already adding green here, so this is one of the colors that I'm gonna bring onto the layout just to make everything cohesive. So like I said, I'm just trimming out the edges. I'm gonna set it aside, and my idea is I want to bring a little bit of color behind the doily, or in this case the mandala die cut that I have created. So I'm actually gonna bring tropical forest inks just to add a little bit of color behind it. So all I'm doing right now is just kind of getting an idea where everything is gonna sit, so I know where to add my ink. So I'm gonna use actually parrot and a little bit of moss and one of my blending brushes, and all I'm gonna do is just kind of create a small circle around where the doily is gonna sit. You saw that I actually tapped with my with the brush kind of the 4 corners around the doily, or in this case the mandala die cut. And then I'm also gonna create another little spot of ink or blend a little ink spot, whichever way you want to say it, right on the top left corner of the layer, and that's going to create my diagonal design. Once I have that in place, I'm actually going to go ahead and glue the cardstock right onto the one that I've already added the washi tape to the sides. And it's going to be very simple, and this layer took really very little time to put together. So right now all I'm doing is gluing the two cardstocks together, and then I'm going to go ahead and start building the layer. The only thing that I did outside the camera is actually backed the picture with a piece of vellum just to create a soft frame behind the picture and create a little bit of dimension. I'm gonna glue the doily right onto the background, and then I'm gonna use a little bit of foam adhesive to back the picture, and that's gonna create a little bit of lift and movement on the page, some dimension. All I'm gonna do right now is use the flowers, a combination of the white embossed and also the pearl embossed watercolor roses, just to create the clusters. And I'm gonna create a big cluster at the bottom right corner of the picture, another one, a small one right on the top left corner of the picture, and the other one on the big not that big, but the small ink application that I have on the top left corner of the layer. And you're gonna see that, like I said, I'm gonna combine the two colors of flowers, but I'm gonna use also the branches and some of the leaves just to help me create the movement to bulk up the cluster. And all I'm doing is just setting everything where it's gonna sit, and I'm gonna take it off camera just to add some foam adhesive behind some of the pieces, just to create a movement and also to add some dimension. It was very easy to build this just because the leaves on the branches that this stamp set come, they already have some movement, they have curvature, so all you need to do is stamp them, die cut them, and it's easy to put together. You're gonna create beautiful, you can create a garland, you can create a cluster very easily, because the leaves are gonna help you build add that movement that you want in your pages. So now that I have everything in place, I'm just gonna go ahead and start adding the sentiments and also the title. And again, I'm gonna use the stamp set for this. I love the sentiment that comes in the stamp set, so I'm gonna stamp the word believe right in between the two clusters that are creating my diagonal. I'm using black obsidian ink for that, and I'm also gonna use that long sentiment or subtitle right underneath my picture, and I'm gonna actually add my lines to journal later right underneath there too. And just to complete my title, I'm gonna add the little sentiment that says in yourself, so my title is gonna read believe in yourself. Just to finish, I'm actually gonna go ahead and add some drops of antique gold spray, just so I want to bring a little bit of shine to the page, and that's about it. This layer took together 45 minutes, even less to put together, just because it took a while to cut each one of the flowers, and it was super easy. I love the color combination of the craft and the pearl finish and also the white embossing. It makes them very elegant. It makes the picture stand out really nicely, and having that little pop of green behind the craft, it actually brings the details of the flowers. And I hope you try it. As always, if you have any questions, do not hesitate to contact me. Don't forget to check out Altenew for the stamp and the die set. Is one that you want to add to the collection because it's so versatile. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you soon. Take care, guys.